Hello and welcome to an exciting new episode of Talking About Stoicism. We were going over smack myself in the face. Moral Letters by Lucius Aeneas Seneca. We've landed in letter 76, which is another incredibly long letter, but I'm going to stick to just the first paragraph, or two. From Seneca to Lucilius, greetings. You swear you will become my enemy if I don't inform you about every one of my day's activities. See how forthright I am in my life with you. I will share even this. I am taking philosophy lessons. Today is the 5th day I've gone to school to hear the philosopher lecturing from 2 o'clock onward. What, at your age? Why not? What could be more foolish than failing to learn a thing simply because you haven't learned it earlier? So I'm supposed to take after the youthful squires? I'm doing quite well by my advancing years if I don't shame them any more than that. Here is a school that admits people at any age. I think that in itself is a very interesting concept. And that is a concept that should matter to us all. Our society has changed a lot. And it is no longer the case that you learn a certain trade and then you execute that trade for the rest of your life, and that's the end of it, as things used to be, say, 100 years ago. We live in a society now that really values learning and that really values the continuation of learning. Now, as you may or may not know, I happen to work in post-secondary education. And the concept of lifelong learning has become very, very important for educational institutions. And although I don't want to make this video about all the ins and outs of educational institutions, although that would be a very interesting video in my mind, I think this just goes to show how important these kinds of things have become, how important it has become to learn and to continue learning. And not everybody does that, but to quote some benefits, there actually are demonstrable benefits in continuing learning when we look at quote-unquote successful aging. In other words, people who age but who remain cognitively healthy, who retain good brain health onto quite a late age. And what is very interesting is that years of education correlates quite strongly with successful aging. Now, as always with associative research, it is just an association, and it is not really possible to say what caused what. Maybe having more years of education causes you to age better, but maybe people who age better happen to have had a longer education, or maybe there's a third variable that hasn't been tested at all that actually explains this kind of stuff. In any case, it certainly does not hurt to learn as much as you can. And this is part of what we call poetically use it or lose it. We know that, for example, people who are bilingual age better than people who only speak one language, cognitively speaking, right? And that's simply because they use 2 languages. They switch between languages, so that can help, keeps your brain active. Learning new things is something that has been shown time and again to really help you to age better. And so here we have a person who hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago wrote about that specific concept, kind of intuiting, I think, time for sip of tea, this principle. As long as you are alive and of sound mental capacity, you can continue to learn. But it's the chicken and egg thing. By continuing to learn, you also typically improve your brain health, your cognitive prowess as you age. So it really is a concept, I think, that that's dear to me, maybe because I'm an educator, but also because I have an interest in aging research and neurocognitive aging. But it's something that can't be overstated. So any opportunity you have to learn something and to continue to learn new things, you'd be wise to take, because it does help you typically to grow old better. And then there are genetic factors and all kinds of other factors that come into play, but certainly continuing to learn does not hurt. And that doesn't have to mean, well, I'm retired now and this is the time I'm going to pursue a PhD, although that would be a very interesting thing to do. It doesn't have to be that. It can be something more modest. You can try to learn a couple of words in a new language. You could learn to try and pick up a new skill. You could read about topics that you find interesting, like Stoicism. You can do all these kinds of things. And I think the rewards are typically really can be quite profound. So I thought it was very interesting that Seneca raises that as an issue. The second thing I think that stood out to me in that idea is the concept of we never know everything. We may think we understand a topic or a concept very well, but there is always more to learn about that. And I think that's what he's alluding to with, clearly he has an interest in philosophy, but he goes to a school of philosophy to learn more about that specific concept. And this is something that I think we often forget in our day and age too. People think they know everything, when in reality they know very little or nothing about a topic. And I sometimes feel that in the age of the internet, that has become more and more profound. People who really have no knowledge in a certain area, but who do believe they are strong experts in that area because they watched a YouTube video on something once. If you can let go of that idea, and if you can accept and embrace the idea that there is more to learn, then you can also actually learn things, and you can further your knowledge. With that comes a very difficult skill, which is learning to accept that you are wrong. This is very, very difficult for all people. We don't like to learn or hear or be told that we are wrong. But sometimes we are. This is part of being a human being. Everybody is wrong sometimes. And that's okay. What matters then is how you deal with that and how you move forward from that. Science does this all the time. This is one of the things that I hear a lot when I talk to especially non-scientifically trained people about science. Something along the lines of, well, take eggs. Yesterday eggs were unhealthy, but now today I read in the newspaper, there's no newspapers anymore. Today I read on Facebook that eggs are actually good for you, and now I'm confused. Why can't scientists be right? Because scientists are human beings, and they work with the methodology and technology that they have. And sometimes new technology shows us new things, gives us new opportunities to measure or observe something. And sometimes that leads to revisions of knowledge. That's how science works. Remember that for the longest time we have believed that the earth was flat. And when you look around you, that makes complete sense, because the earth does look like it's flat, except it isn't. And yet, it seems very difficult for some people to accept that viewpoint, even though there are pictures taken from space. And they clearly show that the earth is not flat. But I suppose they're all fake. Anyway, this was just some thoughts on the importance of continuing to learn. The importance of being able to say, I was wrong. I misunderstood this concept. And that's hard. That takes time. Let me know in the comments how easy you find it to indicate that you're wrong. It's certainly taken me time. But once you kind of master that, or become better at it, I should say, you notice how much easier your life becomes. Where you can just say, no, you're right, I was wrong about that, sorry. I must have misunderstood that. How do you deal with that? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I shall be back again next week with more talk about Stoicism.